Thanks, Ryan. This works really well with laconic. Michael Arlen was a screenwriter. In 1944, Arlen had fallen on tough times. Looking to drown his sorrows in a few drinks, Michael Arlen went downtown to a popular restaurant called 21. And in the lobby, he ran into, Sam Goldwyn. He ran into Sam Goldwyn. He's the G in MGM Studios, Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer, which is great for a screenwriter. And he told Sam Goldwyn his situation. Sam Goldwyn replied with the advice that Arlen should invest in racehorses. This was extremely impractical for Michael Arlen since he had no money at the time. Nevertheless, he thanked Sam Goldwyn for the advice and moved on to the bar, where he ran into Louis B. Mayer, one of the M's in MGM Studios. And Louis and Arlen were old acquaintances. They went way back together. And Mayer asked Arlen what his plans were for the future, not knowing his current situation. Arlen said, well, I just got done talking with Sam Goldwyn. Mayer interrupted and said, what did he offer you? Arlen responded, not enough. Would you take $15,000 for 30 weeks? Yes. Michael Arlen made a lot of money that day just by knowing when to stop talking. He knew when to stop. Have you ever gotten to the point in a negotiation where you ask for something and the other person goes silent? Maybe you were at a job interview and you just stated your salary requirements for the position and the other person doesn't say anything. Maybe they lean back in their chair. Maybe they lace their fingers together, give you that squinty look. They're trying to get you to open your mouth and negotiate against yourself. Think about how things might have been different for Michael Arlen if instead of being quiet, saying very little, being laconic, if instead he'd explained his situation to Louis B. Mayer. Hey, I'm a screenwriter who used to be great, but I'm not getting any work right now, and I'm sad. Things would have turned out very differently for him. Learn to embrace the silence in a negotiation and wait for a response to what you've asked for. Learn when to stop talking. Coriolanus was a great military hero in ancient Rome. He's the subject of a Shakespearean play. He fought in many battles and had saved the city on numerous occasions. But not many people in the city knew him personally because he was gone so much of the time. Eventually, he decided to return to the city and run for public office. He was going to be consul, which is a very high office in ancient Rome, very prestigious. Traditionally, if you're running for consul, you give a speech in front of the people to kick off your campaign. Coriolanus began his speech by showing the scars that he'd received from 17 years of military service. And this moved the people to tears. It impressed them hugely, the sacrifice that he'd made for his country. They were so emotional that they didn't really hear the speech that he gave. It just didn't matter to them. And at the end of his speech, it was all but certain that he would win the election. On polling day, Coriolanus swept into the Forum in Rome with a huge entourage of senators and wealthy people from the city. And he started a second speech. In this speech, he said that he was sure to win the election. He said that he bragged about his military service, he trashed his opponents, and he spoke of the great wealth that he would bring to the city when he was elected. The people hadn't realized until this point that Coriolanus was intolerable and that he bragged just like a common person. Word spread of this second speech throughout the city that day, and people turned out in huge numbers to vote against Coriolanus. Sometimes the more we say, the less powerful we appear. A person who cannot control their own words shows that they cannot control themselves. To close with a verse from Proverbs, even a fool is thought wise if he remains silent, or discerning if he holds his tongue. Mr. Toastmaster.